Well, hello again, and welcome, as always, to Niles First Christian Church Disciples of Christ, and welcome to our Wednesday devotion. We haven't had them for a few weeks now because I was away, but I'm so happy to be back with my church family and so happy to share again with you. What is on my mind today is actually a continuation of what we talked about on Sunday. We had the opportunity to share together the story from the Gospel of John of what happened after Jesus fed the 5,000. And we talked about how important it is for our ministries to center around feeding, to center around meeting the needs of people physically so that we can address spiritual needs and growth from there on. To feed people is the beginning of any effective ministry because, well, we're just not ourselves when we're hungry. We don't make good decisions. We get emotionally charged. We don't have the ability to be our best selves when we are lacking sustenance. It's like that commercial about Snickers bars. Remember? Well, there's a couple different ones where it was a clever ad that happened. They'd usually have a celebrity in it, and they wouldn't be themselves. They'd be another actor, and then someone would address and say, you know, you're not yourself when you're hungry. And they'd have a bite of Snickers and they'd be a completely different person. I think that all spoke to us in some ways because I know in some points in time I'm not myself when I'm hungry. But did you know that Snickers commercial is in some ways based on a Bible story? The story is actually it's a great story that we find in 1 Kings about Elijah. And Elijah, it's this wonderful narrative. I invite you, I strongly encourage you to read the latter part of 1 Kings for this wonderful story that we have of Elijah. And the story goes, he's trying to reclaim God as the God of the people of Israel. The king and his partner are bringing in worship of Baal, they're bringing in worship of other gods, and it's diminishing the Israelites' people's worship of God. So Elijah comes in and he performs this miraculous feat of calling God in to show the miracles, the presence of God. But this angers the king and his partner, and Jezebel, who is the partner's king, sends a messenger to Elijah and says, basically, what you did to the priests of Baal are what I am going to do to you. And Elijah, even though he very clearly has God on his side, even though he is doing the right thing, even though he's speaking prophetically for the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, he gets nervous and he runs away. Probably not having a chance to pack a lunch, he runs out of the city and goes into the wilderness. And after walking for so long and setting his helpers to stay behind him, he sits under a broom tree. And it's where we get our reading then for today. This comes from 1 Kings chapter 19, and we'll start at 3. This is when he's running away. 1 Kings 19:3. Then he was afraid. He got up and fled for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah. He left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a solitary broom tree. He asked that he might die. It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my ancestors. Then he lay down under the broom tree and fell asleep. Suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, Get up and eat. He looked, and there at his head was a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. He ate and drank and lay down again. The angel of the Lord came a second time, touched him, and said, Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you. He got up and ate and drank. Then he went into the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. This is proof again how better we can be, how much closer to our best selves we can be if we simply take care of our physical needs as a holistic approach to addressing our spiritual needs. So if you are angry, if you are anxious, if you are hurt or mad, If you are having difficulty controlling the emotions that boil up inside you, do what Elijah did. Sit under a tree. Have a snack. Drink some water. Maybe take a nap. Address your physical needs that you might go out and do God's will. So if you don't mind, I have some meditating to do. I have my tree. I have my snack of green beans straight from the garden. Maybe I can work on a nap. Go in peace. Amen.